Can you beat Resident Evil Village with only a knife? Well, for some dumb reason, I wanted to find out. You might say, well, there's an achievement for that, so of course you can. Yeah, that's true, but can you beat it on Village of Shadows with a default knife? Well, that I can answer right now. Hell no, I do not have the patience for that. I tried for over an hour and I couldn't even get past the first section. So I switched to hard mode and grabbed the karambit. Call me weak, I don't care. Guns can be scary, so that's why I'm using a knife. So after almost 11 hours of gameplay and almost 50 gigabytes of recording, I finally completed the challenge. The rules for this challenge are simple. Rule 1, hard difficulty. This means pain and arthritis in both my hands as I need to press the block and attack button 30,000 times throughout the playthrough. Rule 2, I can only use a karambit. Of course there are sometimes gun usage that is impossible to avoid, such as throwing the pipe bomb when fighting the hot vampire daughter, this tower when fighting the ugly fish guy, and shooting these lights. But I think you guys knew that when you clicked on this video, so I better not see any of you complaining in the comments.
Gifts we gave, but more you took, she snarled. So more in turn is due. In a blink, the girl was trapped inside a mirror.
The Winters family settled down in their house in Europe. Mia is reading baby Chris a bedtime story. Soup's cooking, but now I must put this little angel down. And by down, I mean end its life. I'm not one to send a child to the burning place downstairs, but this thing was an abomination. The only reason I didn't put it up for adoption is because my wife would leave me forever if I refused to raise it. One day, Mia will understand what I must do. Heading back downstairs to talk to my wife, who was annihilated in front of me by my arch nemesis Rose. He stole my man baby, kidnapped me, and I woke up in the middle of the woods with nothing but pure hatred for baby Chris. Now that Mia is gone, my only goal is to execute the child. The first enemy is easy. How, you might ask? Well, if you run around him while screaming like a little girl, grab the bolt cutters, he despawns, and you move on. The second enemy wasn't bad either. With a karambit, I was able to slice him up pretty quickly. Then came the village attack. When I first tried this challenge on Village of Shadows, I couldn't even get past this part. After over an hour of trying before I finally gave up. But on hard mode, it wasn't that bad. I was able to keep running around, hiding on the roof, and taking out enemies as they came up one by one, and it was over. This is when I meet the hottest, most gorgeous piece of cake I have ever laid my eyes on.
Give glory.
Hello?
It's you, the child's father.
We started our relationship after a quick talk, did some looting, gave this old guy a smooch, watched the other love of my life die right in front of me, but now it was time to meet the true loves of my life. And no, I'm not talking about the merchant. I'm talking about Thick Mommy Vampire and her hot triplet daughters.
Man blood.
This game is a few different sections. The castle with Thick Mommy Juicers and her hot triplet daughters. After Thick Vampire Lady gave my hand a sucking, they hung me from my hands like I'm Christ on the cross, and said they would be back. But I was too excited, I couldn't wait for them, so I ripped my hands through the hooks and went to search for them. We have so many bosses we have to go through before I can get my son back and throw him off a cliff. We get the 3 hot triplets, Thick Mommy Juicers, Ugly Fish Guy, Dollar Store Magneto, the big scary ugly guy in the cave, uglier guy in the bigger and scarier cave, and Mother. Each boss has their own strategy, and boy, you better believe I was excited when I learned it. You might be wondering how I made it through those hordes of lichens or those dungeon dwellers. Well, it's really simple. I put on my running shoes, scream like a child, and run past them. The daughters were easy. They used a lot of my healing items and were really annoying, but I was able to defeat all of them. Maybe I'll never find true love. You might also be wondering how I'm swinging my knife so quickly. Why do you guys have so many questions? Ethan has a 2-second cooldown after 2 swings, but if you swing twice, then block, you can skip that cooldown and just keep on swinging. So that's what I did with the triplets. I slapped the shit out of them with my knife, guard when they're about to hit me, heal when I'm low, and repeat. I was shocked at how easy they were, but that couldn't be said about the others. The final girl was the easiest. These girls are scared of ice for some reason, so I opened the ceiling with this lever, the dummy would cower in the corners, and I would slap her across the face before the ceiling closed. The second daughter, you have to use a pipe bomb to blow a hole in the wall. Nothing I could do about that. You also need to use a gun for these bells. They're too far to use a knife. I know, I'm very sorry. In this game, when your screen is red, you usually only have one more hit before you die, but if you give it some time, you can heal just a bit to give you an extra hit or two, which is important because I needed to save as many heals as I could for some of the bigger bosses. These little birdies were easy to run past, but now we're finally onto Mama Vampire.
Ruined everything!
She wouldn't help me get rid of my child, so I was forced to exterminate her. Lady Dimitrescu was a real challenge. Once you learn her attacks, it's not that bad, but you see, the issue with that is that I suck at video games. Skill issue, I know. Learn her attacks, then boom, done. She has a few different attacks. One is a fly attack, then a normal slam attack, then this twirly thing. For the flies, just hide in one of the towers, wait for them to disperse, then continue. When she tries to gobble me, I attack her, run away, let her bite at me, then attack her again. Just repeat that process. For the flight attacks, I just simply run to the other side of the tower. Her phase 2 is even easier, even though I did die here the first time. All you have to do is hit her on the left side until her mouth turns red, then run to the right. The dummy will attack the wrong side and you can get a few hits in. Rinse and repeat. After knifing her for 19 minutes, she finally crumbled. In total, it took me about 50 minutes, but crossing her off my hit list felt great and I wanted more. I ran into the hot grandma again. We flirted a bit before deciding we should split up and move on with our lives. Everything seemed fine until I went down these stairs to see lichens everywhere and Batman up top, so I booked it and these kind gentlemen let me through without a fight. That's when I met up with my man the merchant again. He proceeded to speak in riddles and tell me that I'm holding my dismembered son in my hands.
Why, you have your daughter right in your own hands.
What are you saying?
Take a closer look.
And that was something. The dollhouse is easy, you don't need a weapon, just avoid this scary looking thing. Let's instead focus on this ugly piece of shit who would never amount to anything.
I'll just be taking this.
Wait! What are you doing with Mother's special child?
He was tough. He had around 26,000 health, which means I would have to hit him a lot. At first, I tried attacking him, then running away before he smacked me, but that didn't work, so I checked out Zero's video, which is who I got the idea from, so full credit to him. If you simply just trap him in the spot, you can easily bully him to death. Sometimes he would break free, but then I'd just circle around and do the same thing until I finish him off. I danced on his disgusting corpse and sold his body to the black market. He only took around 15 minutes to defeat, but by this point my fingers had 3 separate cases of arthritis, but nonetheless, we continue. I forgot to mention food. It's pretty important. I really should have gotten all the recipes, but I was too lazy to be honest. Big mistake. That would have made the challenge a whole lot easier for me. The merchant did make some very tasty food as long as you kill some animals, which my aim with a knife is phenomenal. Remember this horrifying part of the game where this huge werewolf leaps out from the side and starts eating you out? Yeah, he wasn't that bad. Just gave him a big slap a few times. I thought the stronghold would be hard, but it wasn't that bad. I used to speedrun this game quite a bit for fun, so I knew exactly what I had to do. I ran up, pulled both the levers, and ran around till the gate opened. Then comes another damn marathon inside the stronghold. Enemies surrounded you from every direction, but once again, I booked it till the end and ran past them all. I learned that they can follow you through the store. You can see the moment I realized that. This piece of garbage was the second hardest boss fight, almost as bad as Miranda. I spent almost an hour dying over and over again. He doesn't have some kind of exploit like Moreau. He's a lot harder to learn and he has some beefy hit points. He has some super strength and calls in some friends when he's lonely. Everything I don't have. If he was alone, that wouldn't be a problem. I could take a slap or two, slice up his ankles, then move on. But when 3 lichens spawn in every minute, it makes it a lot harder. This little bitch can't fight me on his own, so he calls in his friends when he's lonely. Normally this wouldn't be too bad, but if it wasn't obvious before, I'm using a knife, so it took quite a bit of time, with multiple attempts. I had to constantly defend myself from his friends while also dodging his attacks and not die. Thankfully I found out there's friendly fire. I forced him to brutally murder every single one of his friends, which proved to be quite useful. So after multiple attempts, almost punching my monitor, I finally defeated him. I sat there in shock, staring at the screen at what I just did. Then I danced on his body and ran away. The factory is pretty easy, so I'll just speedrun that as well. You had to use a gun here with the lights, but for everything else, as long as you know where to go, it's pretty easy. Then we get to Fan Man. This guy took me around an hour to beat. He wasn't even a hard boss or anything, I just suck. He had a lot of health and was pretty dangerous when he's on fire, but overall he wasn't that bad. After this fight, I met my arch nemesis Rose again. She told me that Mia wasn't actually Mia, but that she was Miranda, aka Grandma. I swore to Zeus that I would get my revenge on her for betraying me. That was now my only mission. I destroyed Heisenberg with the tank, finished him off by putting my knife in his tubes, but then Miranda sneaks up and we have a messy breakup.
And I must stop.
Fuck you, you crazy bitch!
She rips my heart out and I wake up as Rose. You may think this part was tough, but it really wasn't. Almost every enemy you could just block and run by as Rose is an absolute tank and can take a lot of hits. Using a laser pointer could be a problem, but luckily you can run full sprint around this building while using a laser, making it very easy. Big Boy V2 was very easy. He took a long time to take out, but his attacks were extremely predictable and easy to avoid. Sometimes he would jump up on this platform and try to slam me into the underworld, but you can just run around to avoid it. All I did was crouch, stick through the guy's right leg, and begin slashing away. And then he finally fell. Only one more boss to go.
Show me your hands!
I found Mia locked up in Miranda's cell. I was gonna leave her, but she threatened to break up with Ethan, so I had to take her with me. Waking back up as Ethan, heartbroken after learning that I was betrayed, I got there just in time before the ceremony. Miranda was trying to turn my little angel into a monster, so we fought. Miranda was the hardest fight for me, and I have to be honest here. I almost gave up. I spent 2.5 hours trying to defeat her, but I couldn't. I didn't have enough healing. Because I'm playing on New Game Plus, I could buy as many heals as I want, so I sold my fully upgraded stake and bought as many heals as I could. I did have to buy another pistol as you have to have at least one ranged weapon, but if you guys want to consider that a fail, I understand. She has 4 different phases she cycles through. They weren't too bad. I really struggled on the last one where she can go through any of her phases as she pleases. But after a lot of time, 2.5 hours of attempts, I finally sent that beast back to the deepest, darkest pits of hell. Of course, yet another gun usage is required here. As I sat there with my hand crumbling to pieces as I held my man child in my arms, but then Rose came to the rescue out of nowhere. I told her to raise my child for me. She told me that everything was going to be okay, but I knew that was a lie. So I gave her my man child, snagged the detonator, made my way to the Megamycete and pulled the trigger. Sacrificing myself so my family could be happy. Rose, Mia, and my child were safe in the end, and that's all that mattered. I was at peace. So, can you beat Resident Evil 8 with a knife? Yeah, I guess if you're stupid enough to try. If you enjoy this video, subscribe, hit that bell. If you don't, Baby Chris will haunt you for the rest of your life. Check out my other videos, let me know what other challenges I should try, and thank you guys for watching.
Starting to go a little stale.
Then let's devour his man flesh quickly, Mother. I am the one who captured him.
Now, daughters.
Ladies,
First, I
ladies.
must inform Mother Miranda.
There's enough shit in my pants to
Later.
go around. Line up. Don't
There
worry.
will be enough
I got enough for everybody.
Budema,